Hey, this is Samoa Joe, and you're listening to the semi-decent yet sometimes cool, but often advertised as awesome wrestling show.
Produced by the Cleveland Sound Radio Network. Here is the This Is Awesome Wrestling Show, hosted by Glenn Moore and Steve Guy.
Welcome back. This is Awesome Wrestling Show right here on CLEsound.com. I'm Glenn, joined by Steve. A very special edition of the show because we have a very special guest making his AIW debut, a man that you know from TNA, and he made his NXT debut this week, Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe, thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure to be here, gentlemen. Thank you for that awesome intro.
There you go. All right, you're here facing Johnny Gargano. You're making the indie rounds. You're here in Cleveland. It's going to be a big draw tonight. A lot of people want to see you wrestle, but talk about the indie scene itself, and you enjoy making the rounds and going to certain cities and for the smaller promotions here around the country.
Yeah, it's funny. Indie wrestling is such a unique animal in and of itself. I mean, it's really it's refreshing to be at because you have a collection of usually younger wrestlers, some older wrestlers, some older, very grizzled, nasty, salty wrestlers. All thrown together in various guard armories and Legion halls and buildings around the world, and you get such a varied palette of talent and ability, and sometimes I've been privy to walking into some of these buildings and finding some of the greatest diamonds in the rough.
Yeah.
And I've been privy to seeing some of the most horrible wrestling in the world. So it's really this nonstop kind of cavalcade of characters and people, and it really makes up the fabric of the wrestling world, and it's always an enjoyable experience, and it's always as long as you have your head on right and you know to expect the unexpected, making the indie rounds can be a very pleasurable experience.
You're here in Cleveland facing Johnny Gargano, but last couple of days has been interesting because John Thorne, a guy from AIW, posted a tweet, and your buddy CM Punk said how much if he was going to come here and face you.
Yeah, and if he just would have sold his Kia, got us our helicopter and the M&Ms that we wanted with the M's polished off, maybe we could have made that happen. But apparently, it's a little bit out of his ability and reach, and it's a shame. But I think maybe in the future he can do those things, and we might get it done.
Yeah.
You didn't get the M&Ms even at least?
No, I didn't. Not single.
I'll grab you some, man.
They're peanut, which I don't have an allergy, but somebody might have an allergy that I work with, and I'd hate to be responsible for them asphyxiating in the ring. So it's just a safety issues, guys.
You're very thoughtful.
Yeah.
Not to toot my own horn, Joe, but I had a request for mustard for the hot dogs this show because they always only have ketchup, and I at least got the mustard.
Who eats? People around here eat hot dogs with ketchup on them?
Yeah.
That's okay. Well, I'm gonna have to rethink returning here. No, I mean, yeah, it's we have fun, and Punk's always one to stir the pot, and it's a good time whenever he does.
You guys have a storied history, and that would be a very unique because considering his situation with UFC and then you making your NXT debut, I think Cleveland would explode if you two would face off here in Cleveland. But we can only wish and dream about that matchup again.
I'm just saying, start selling your Kias, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe make this happen.
Go
fund that. How about that?
Yeah. You made your NXT debut. What's your status? Are you with them? Is this a one-time thing? What is the status of?
They just wanted me to walk out, and I'm done. It was a really great walk out and stare at Kevin, and I'm finished. So I mean, great run in NXT. Really enjoyed my time there. Probably the best 5 minutes I've had.
It's the best walk-in ever.
Yeah. I mean, really, the walk-in works unparalleled. So I mean, it's going real well. I have a very unique relationship with NXT and the WWE at this point, and it's one that's kind of unprecedented. It's a first-time type of deal, and I'll leave it at that. I think the enigma is part of the fun, and you'll never know what will turn up next. Let me put it that way.
You're smiling too, so you must be a happy man.
Yeah.
The world.
Money makes me smile.
The wrestling.
Just throw that out there.
The wrestling world is just going crazy.
Yeah,
because of you right now.
It's
with
great
NXT,
for me.
Yeah.
We have this. Yeah, and then on top of that, we get the TNA news the same night that Samoa Joe steps out at NXT. There's rumors flying that TNA no longer going to be on TV. It's like you are the man who just brings everything down and brings everything up all at once.
My parents often called me the harbinger of doom, but I think it's probably for a different reason. No, honestly, that breaks my heart. I really hope the rumors aren't true, and if they are, I hope that there's they can find a new TV partner. So many incredibly talented individuals there, and you hate to see people like that not be paid what they're worth, and I hope that does happen for them. But as far as me and NXT, I mean, I'm really very much looking forward to the future in my relationship with the company, and it's the hottest brand in wrestling right now. I mean, it is. It's not something that I often I don't often toot the horn of a company, but if you look around, I mean, they just they've got the world talking, they've got the world on fire. They're selling out their shows, and people are tuning in, and it's really awesome. I've been fortunate enough in my career to be on the ground floor of several different companies as they've caught fire, and as they've built, and as they've become something greater than they were when they started. And to get that opportunity once again is over the moon for me, and I'm very much looking forward to it.
I mean, you're an established guy. People know you, obviously, from TNA and also your time at Ring of Honor. Making your debut on NXT, I mean, people still view NXT as a developmental brand. People down there working on their craft to make it to the main roster.
Who are these people?
Well, I mean, I would say
Not this guy anymore.
Exactly.
I'm not putting you on the spot.
No.
I just love some people. Like, it's just.
Yeah, but with you, I would imagine your WB debut, Monday Night Raw, in front of millions of people on the USA Network and on NXT. Is that the transition over maybe to NXT becoming a bigger brand, or is that what you wanted, or is because we talked about it before you even came out on WB. What would Samoa Joe's debut be on Raw in front of millions of people and not on NXT?
You said this would be 10 minutes. We're at like 9:59 right now. Are we gonna? Okay.
Come on, man.
Sorry, I love torturing people. It's a thing of mine. I'll put it like this. There is great things to come.
Okay.
And like I said, I've worked at a very, very unique position for myself within the wrestling industry and with NXT and WWE. And I feel at this point in time to really even allude to where things might be going would be cheating the fans of a genuine experience when it does occur. So I'll leave it at that.
That's a good answer.
When you were in TNA, you obviously worked with a lot of guys that had just previously even been in WWE. One of the names, Kurt Angle, you worked with a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Were there conversations that took place, or while you're sitting there, do you have those conversations like, what was WWE like? Asking those guys kind of for the comparison, and in your mind think you're going to make that shift and transition at some point and just get a feel for it from everybody else?
Okay. I've learned this a long time ago, and it's when speaking with somebody about a company that they were formerly with, it always is the most pleasant experience. And here's the other thing too. I mean, I believe in doing your homework and getting a feel for things, and various people. I've gotten very honest opinions about all companies, TNA included. When I was in ROH, people kind of giving me a very, very honest portrayal of what TNA was like, and in WWE, I've gotten honest portrayals. I've gotten outlandish portrayals. And part of that is not crafting that narrative to fit your idea of what your career should be. I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, you need to go push forward. You need to believe in yourself, and you need to, find ways to challenge yourself and make situations work. So, I mean, those talks really, even if they were brought up or, put upon me in an unsolicited fashion, which often would happen, they didn't really factor into, what my plans were. Because at the end of the day, it's my responsibility. A lot of stuff happens at the end of the day. I don't know if you guys knew that, by the way. So anyway, it's my responsibility, and it's my experience, and my experience can be vastly different from somebody else's. And I mean, currently my experience is absolutely unique and very different than many people who have worked within the bounds of NXT and the WWE, kind of hierarchy. So, it's been great so far. So I mean, I'm just looking forward to a foster relationship and continuing to make it great.
Obviously, with TNA. Maybe you weren't the happiest man, and you had that time, the period to making your debut this past week. Just even the few last months, have you noticed maybe the weight off your shoulders personally, going to a company that is going to pay you very well? You're going to get more exposure. It's kind of maybe the pinnacle maybe of your career. You just feel maybe relieved totally as personal and also professionally.
Well, I've been paid very well everywhere I've worked.
Yeah.
No.
Not me.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for you. Really, you should really look into something different in your life. I'm sorry, boys. I know I'm horrible to you guys. I shouldn't be so mean. It's an awesome wrestling show. I'm just trying to keep it in perspective. No, I feel, I wouldn't even categorize it as unhappy.
Yeah.
I would categorize it as I was coming to a point where I was feeling, from a career standpoint, a touch stagnant. I was feeling as if I had a lot more to offer and a lot more to give to the company in various aspects, in various realms, from backstage to in front of the camera. And there weren't those opportunities, those avenues for me to explore that and to do that. And I know for me personally, I'm the type of person that when I feel stifled in those ways, that energy has to go somewhere. And if it's not going in a positive direction, then there's only one other way for it to go. And it was starting to become that. And before it became that, I didn't want it to. I didn't want it to, poison the infrastructure there at my former employer. I didn't want it to poison me. And, I just knew it was time for a change. And it was, it was a bit of a roll of the dice. There was no guarantees. There was definitely nothing in place as far as a backup planner. But, that's the point when you have to kind of sit back and go, hey, do you really believe in yourself or don't you? And, I have a tremendous, fantastic support system in my home with my family and my friends. I mean, I can't give enough accolades to the people who've supported me throughout my career and continue to. And, taking all that into account and taking in, my own headspace into account, it's time for me to move on.
Is there a guy, maybe when you were at TNA, growing up, that you want to work with? A guy that if you can kind of plan out a perfect match or even a story with somebody, that this would be the guy you want to work with?
No. Well, simply just because, just the phrasing of the question. Planning out a perfect match.
Not even planning out, but the story leading up, weeks in advance, culmination to the match.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Would be someone you can just work with through all aspects of it.
The funny thing is with me, it's not who, it's setting up the scenario. And, it doesn't matter who it is to me.
Yeah.
It really doesn't. As long as there's an opportunity for us to set up a scenario that the fans are into. And that's really essentially the core of it is that, and sometimes it's something that's lost on a lot of talent is that it's not about what you envision. It's about, creating your name and getting out there and having something that the fans can depend on you for, and then crafting that scenario that the fans want to see. So really, it's what people are, they dictate what I'm going to do, and what they're feeling and what they want to see. That's what I want to see.
So at this point, I'm not going to give it away.
We're
well into the
over
30s.
3 minutes
this
into
is
the
gonna be my
10
last.
minute.
I wasn't here to promise the 10 minutes. I don't know what this guy over here is talking
Yeah.
about. I never did. Plus, he flubbed that whole intro.
Yeah, on purpose, trying to obviously
you get them on,
we got to
then
not
just
count
go.
those.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It-
I'm
not
not saying you have the face of a liar. It's just I would never trust you to give me good directions. All right. Anyways, continue.
Not going to give away the exact age. You can if you want, but you're well into your 30s.
Well,
How far?
Well.
How far along does Samoa Joe want to go?
I'll say it, 36.
Oh yeah, Wikipedia.
I got you.
That's
I got
fast.
I can't
you.
believe you just did that to me.
That's kind of creepy.
Hey, man, you rip
that
on
he
me,
I
I'll
know.
rip on you, man.
He was thinking it the
Like,
whole time.
I know.
He was doing the math.
waiting.
Like
Yeah.
he's like, if me and Samoa
This is
Joe, like it wouldn't be weird, right? Like the age gap or
Yeah,
anything.
not at all.
Yeah.
No. How much longer? I don't know. That really doesn't factor. As long I guess my legs haven't fallen off yet, so I got that
It's
going
always,
for me.
well, there was a
And,
guy who just walked out with his shoulder out behind you. So
Yeah.
that was
In his
good.
first match ever.
In his first
so
match
great.
ever.
Isn't
Yeah.
that great? Welcome to wrestling,
Yep,
kid.
first match, shoulder gone, popped
The
out.
shoulder popped out. Oh man.
What was your first match like? I'm sorry, take your question away.
No, your question means nothing anymore. By the way, yeah. See, this is the stuff that makes me not want to trust you. I just want to, just.
You've only been sitting here for
I know.
10, 12 minutes.
I know,
I gotta
like-
do this every week.
Like if you were hitchhiking on the side of the road, I'd swerve towards you, but I would not pick you up.
No, pick him up for you, buddy.
Yeah.
You're not joining.
Yeah,
them.
I would stop to tell you, listen, you're not going to get a ride, buddy. Then I'd drive off.
Wow.
I'm just kidding. I'm sure you're a wonderful person.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, no. What was your question again?
How much longer you
Oh,
want
how
to
much
go?
longer do I want to do this? I don't know. I feel good. No nagging long-term injuries. Everything I've had has been pretty acute as far as recovery and healing and stuff. So, as long as I'm a feasible force in the ring, then I'll be in the ring.
All right, Joe, we'll let you go. You got to do a meet and greet
You got a
here.
meet
I
and
know we're over
greet?
10 minutes. I apologize.
Yeah, way over. Way over.
You're a man that everyone wants to talk to, man.
Apparently.
Welcome to Cleveland,
This
Right on,
guy.
fellas.
and really appreciate your time.
You guys have a good one.
Samoa
Thanks,
Joe,
Joe.
right here on the This Is Awesome Wrestling Show here on CLEsound.com.